All right, today we're going to jump into the classic fable of the camel and the jackal. But look, this is way more than just a simple kid's story. It's actually a brilliant little masterclass in cause and effect. It shows how every single action we take can create an equal and sometimes a really ironic reaction. So first up, let's meet our two main players. On one side, we've got the camel. He's steady, he's reliable, and yeah, maybe a little too trusting for his own good. And then there's the jackal. He's clever, he's persuasive, and he is definitely tricky. These completely opposite personalities are what really get this whole story rolling. So you might be wondering, how in the world did this unlikely pair even become friends? Well, let's set the scene for this pretty unusual partnership. I want you to picture this. You've got a sunny desert, a sparkling river, and these two buddies just enjoying a peaceful life. Everything seems perfect, right? And that's the whole point. It's this calm before the storm that makes the betrayal that's coming feel even more shocking. You know, every story has that one turning point, that single moment that just changes everything. And in this fable, it all kicks off with a very tempting and very sweet idea. The jackal, always the opportunist, spots a chance for a free meal. And since he's such a smooth talker, he has no trouble convincing his trusting friend to go along with it. This one suggestion, it's the very first domino to fall in a chain of events that's really going to test their friendship. And at first, hey, the plan is a huge success. The camel carries the jackal across the river, and they get to feast on all this sweet sugarcane. It seems like the perfect, harmless little adventure. But as you can probably guess, things are about to take a very sharp turn. And here we go. This is the moment. This is where the story shifts from a fun little adventure to a straight-up tale of betrayal. One friend's selfish impulse is about to have a terrible outcome for the other. So, with their bellies full, the jackal just starts howling. The camel's begging him, be quiet, but the jackal's excuse is just, wow. He says, I always sing after a good meal, I can't help it. It's a totally selfish excuse that shows he has zero regard for his friend's safety. The key here is that he's putting his own little habit above their shared risk. So check this out. Here's the chain reaction, clear as day. The jackal howls, which of course alerts the farmers. The jackal, being small and fast, makes a quick getaway. But who gets left behind to face the consequences? The slow, steady camel. It's a classic case of one person's selfish act causing big problems for someone else. And yep, the camel gets caught and punished for a crime he didn't even really commit. Now, this moment of injustice is so important because it's what sets the stage for the story's incredibly clever ending. But this story is not over, not by a long shot. On the journey home, with a smug jackal probably riding on his back, the camel decides it's time to teach a little lesson of his own, a lesson in consequences. So as they're crossing back over the river, the camel suddenly just stops, right in the deepest part. The jackal is confused, probably starting to get a little nervous, and he has absolutely no idea what's coming next. And then, with one big, deliberate, splashy roll, he sends that unsuspecting jackal tumbling right into the rushing water. So, as the jackal is sputtering in the water, yelling that he can't swim, the camel calmly says something that should sound very, very familiar. He turns the jackal's own selfish logic right back at him, which perfectly hammers home the entire theme of this fable. So what's the big takeaway here? This is more than just a simple revenge story. Let's dig into the powerful idea that's really at the heart of this whole thing. What we've just seen is a perfect example of something called poetic justice. And it's not simply about getting even. It's when a punishment is not only deserved, but it fits the original crime in a really clever, ironic, and honestly, a deeply satisfying way. It just feels right. Okay, let's break this down. The jackal used a phony habit, his singing, to justify a selfish act. So in return, the camel used a phony habit of his own, a sudden need for a bath, to deliver the lesson. You see? The consequence is a perfect mirror image of the crime. The trickster gets tricked by his own twisted logic, and that's what makes it so great. It's not just payback, it's things coming back into balance. And that brings us to our final thought. I mean, this fable is a perfect picture of what goes around comes around. But it kind of makes you wonder, right? In the real world, outside of these neat little stories, is justice ever really this poetic? Or is that perfect, fitting consequence something we mostly just find in fables? It's definitely something to think about.